I'm like, if I see 30-40%, then I just take the whole thing out.
Yeah, yeah, because
which is what I'm doing
so that's
for a while now.
yeah. So you're taking profits now. I
I'm
think
taking 100% profits. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. I think that's what
Because
that's
20%, or it's equivalent to 20%. Then you get a 20% stop or 10% stop. Then it's like, okay, I made like $5.
yeah.
When
And
I could have made 40%.
yeah, that's kind of like the, because when guys tell me, when I go through the trade, that's why I tell everyone, post your entry, man, so we can review it. And what I realize is like the trades sometimes go up 50 to 70%, and I'm like, and then when we talk about it, they're like, yeah, it got to 70, and then it just like plummeted on me, and I'm like, okay, well, the goal was 20. Like what? Where was the action? And then when I kind of talk to everybody, it's the same thing. It's like they start off. That's why I'm like the videos are very direct now, where it's like, okay, this is the stop loss, system, right? You start off with your 25 or whatever, depending on what it is. I'm gonna break it down a little more detailed now that I'm just gonna kind of roll out the whole thing, and that way people understand levels and trades, right? So when you get in, you should actually, with the 100x and all that stuff, you should be entering at a level where it's already happening. So your stop loss should only be 10 anyways, right? 10 to 15. It shouldn't be that big. And that's for everybody. It should be 10 to 15, because if you're in the wrong entry, then you need to get stopped out and recenter yourself because you made a mistake, right? So, and then profit wise, it's like when it gets to 15% profits, you move your stop loss to 0. So that way, if it does plummet, you had a chance at 15, but it went to 0, which is okay. It's okay to lose some trades. That's people lose trades. It's not that big of a deal. The thing is don't lose money when you lose a trade, right? And then when you get to 20%, you're supposed to move your stop loss to 10% profit. So that way you at least get 10%, and it's like breaking even. You know what I mean? And then once you get to 30%, your stop loss moves to 20, which was the goal, and now you stay 20 behind, right? So when it gets to 50, you move your stop loss to 30. When it gets to 60, you move to 40, and then so on, right? And what you're doing with your take profit is you start off with 25% in case there's a quick wick. And if you see it moving on you and making moves, then you turn around and say, okay, well, it's at 18%. I'm gonna move my take profit. I'm gonna take my profit. Hold on one second. Marcy, let's see, MARCYMPO. Yes. And you move your profit. When you get to 17%, you move your take profit up to 50, because you're watching the trade right now. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, boom. And then when it gets to 35-40%, you move your take profit to 75 in case there's a wick, right? And then you just keep moving. And what everyone does is they move their take profit to 100, and their stop loss to 20, and then 30, and then the trade gets to like 70, and then it gets to 65, and then it gets to 50, and then it gets to 40, and then goes to 30, right. And then you guys move your stop loss from 20 to 10, and then when it gets to 20, you move it to 0, and then eventually it keeps going down, and you move it to negative 10 for your stop loss, and in your mind you say to yourself, well, that was my original stop loss anyway, so I'm okay. Because in your mind, it's falling down so much that it has to bounce. And then you walk away with a fucking loss. You know what I mean?
That's like the realization I made. Like, if I'm going to be watching these trades anyways, like, there's nothing wrong with just taking profits, and then if I want to re-enter, I can re-enter.
Yeah.
Like, I can fully exit the trade. Like, I don't have to keep or if I want to, I guess I could keep like a few bucks in there just to see where it's at or something. But but just practicing being like close 100%, like it's like okay, on to the next one.
Yeah, or just on to the next entry. Let it finish what it's doing. Let it bounce. Give yourself another 3-minute top. Remember, I always take profit when the 3-minute goes to the bottom, and then I wait for it to go to the top, and then I get back in. Right, and I work that trade over the entire time. Right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, you have to get to that point where you're like beating up a trade. But I think what happens is, and that's why I'm being very like systematic now, is because we had a lot of options in the beginning, and I took 20 trades and I made it 10. Then I took 10 and made it 4. and then we kind of like now we're moving through, and I'm realizing, you know, when there's too many options of like cost average buying, right, or the ability to cost average buy, what happens is it's like guys don't understand that the cost average buying has a limit, right? And you know, certain trades have certain things to it, right? So when you that, and I'm like, you know what, just move your stop loss down, take a shorter loss, and realize, okay, where did I get in here wrong, right? And then reset yourself up and get in the right, right? And that's kind of where it has to be. It's like you just have to accept the losses and then take the wins. And now you're going to see I'm going to roll out what's called a 10 trade review, right? And the whole point of getting everyone to post their entries, I put up that other folder, was so that guys can, after they do their entries, post their entry and then post the results, right? And that way you have a 10 trade review. After 10 trades, you review your 10 trades. All right, lost 10%, lost 15% stop loss. All right, next trade, took 20%. Next trade, took 10% stop loss, profit. Next trade, lost 15% stop loss. Next trade, made 40%. Next, you know what I'm saying? And then you tally that shit up and you're like, okay, out of these 10 trades, I'm up 30%. That's not bad. Then you do the next 10%, 10 trades, and you see if you got better or worse, right? And then you're having your trades reviewed, and then we go over the mistakes that you're making, so that way every 10 trades you get better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's
the
point.
I will say, I agree with that. But I will say that, like, for like what I've been figuring out, I feel like I had like a 50x Ethereum like long, and like, or like I think I did 45 or something like that, and it's like but I had like a big bat, like $300 something in there, and then like I put my phone down. I'd been watching it all day today, and then like put my phone down for like 30 minutes, and I come back and I'm up like 110, 150% or something. I'm like, holy shit, let's go. It's like, I don't know. I feel like the lower leverage, I don't have to like be stripped. Slightly lower leverage.
Yeah.
I don't have to be stripping out about like, oh God, stop.
Well, that's kind of what it was. Like, there's different levels to it, right? The whole point of the rolling out the original, the sniping one, or the 100X, is because we could use MEXC's high leverage. And it's kind of like this high leverage. It's when you understand it, you get it, the concept. High leverage is used to fix bad entries, right? And what that means is the right entry is when you get to a top and you catch the reversal. Everyone wants to catch that first candle down and then be in that next move. High leverage allows us to watch that move happen, then confirmation, and then we catch the next big candle and get the hell out. Right? Because we're using 100% leverage. The other guy's using 10. So he needs to get to 3% to make 30. We need one candle to make 100. Right? So we can get in later and make the money. So it's all about we're riding the falling knife. We're not predicting it. And guys just have the problem of they start to see something about to reject and then they jump, but they forgot to go through their checklist. So it's like a constant, like it's a step, right? So that's why, it gets and it's hard to, you get emotional in it, right? It gets crazy when you're not following every one of the systems. So that's where I'm kind of like, all right, let's just work through a very simple process. So the one thing about every single trade, no matter what system you're in, whether you're in the position trades, day trading, or scalping and sniping, it's red moon, red trend, negative value, right? Or green moon, green trend, positive volume, all on the 3 minute. It's always the 3 minute, right? So that way, no matter what you're doing, it's the same step, right? The other thing is called the checklist, right? And one of the checklists is the RSIs, the hour, the 30, and the 15. It must be going in your direction or just not against you, meaning pointing up or pointing down, okay? Those are the two, that's the checklist. The second part is, as you move through, the next checklist as you move through the trades is the volume, right? Because the first move is you have different trades, and different trades have different moves, right? So, for instance, the trade that we'll be showing is called a pullback trade, right? The pullback trade is basically when the 1 hour crosses, right? So it's the beginning of people taking profits. The 1 hour crosses, and then you have a 15-minute red moon confirming volume change, right? Or a quick volume change, which will cause a bigger candle than normal. Or your 3-minute red moon, red trend has a negative volume. Then you jump in on that trade with 100x leverage or 50x leverage, and you take advantage of a 0.5% move, which is either 50% on a 100x or 20% on a 50x. And that's your trade, right? Now, that trade isn't for long position trades, which would be a leverage of 20% to 30, okay? Those guys need to wait.
I think that's what I was getting wrong for a little while. Like, I was trying to do the high leverage and then trying to get then leaving it alone for an hour or two, or like sometimes and then just hoping that it would be a banger, be like, oh.
Yeah, no.
Like,
the high,
but they don't always get away with that.
No. They're not made for that. That's not what it's designed for. It's designed to give you 20% no matter what happens. So remember, the system is a 20% system, right? And why that is, right, is because even though we put up 80, 100, 600 percenters, right, that's not the point of the system. The point of the system is this. If you build your bag up slowly and correctly, compounding, eventually you get to 1,000. And then when you get to 1,000, you only need to take 25% profits, which would be 20% total.
Yeah.
Right? That's $200.
Well, that's kind of the point that I'm at right now. It's like I always get to like the 1,000 area, and then I just can't get. I don't know if it's like a mental barrier.
You get emotional now,
or what? Yeah,
it's in your head. But that's where you have to be systematic. Where you're like, okay, now that I'm here, I need to just take profit line. I need to put it at 25, and now I need to move my stop loss more aggressively, right? Because 10% of 1,000 is 100. Ain't no shame in my game, right? Because if I make 10 of these in a row, if I make
not want to see like the get the most out of it, or just be like, oh no, it went for 3%. Like I could have, would have, should have done this. Like just be happy with 25%.
Yeah, because there's trades that happen, right? And that's you'll see. You're gonna go to the new folder. It's called Start Here, and
I've been watching. Also, I started like watching your videos again, like because I think for a while I got like caught in like just the wrong like mindset / system kind of, or what I was explaining to you. So I mean, like rewatching the videos is very helpful.
Yeah,
and now you're like kind of altering the systems a little bit. So it's super helpful.
Yeah, and I'm bringing this down. Like so, when you go to the Start Now folder, it's in a system that is set up. So for instance, what I noticed is when the good thing I was giving Driven shit the other day because it was like I would say something and then have an order and then he would change the order. And I was like, no. It's not what I said. It's the order of how I said it, right? So, for instance, here's how it works, right? Everyone knows they can't trade against the 15 or the 1 hour, right? Like that's just guaranteed. But what confuses me is that why we don't check it in the right order. Here's how the trade process works. It goes 1 hour crossing. That confirms the possible trade. The very first thing that you check is the 30 and the 15 minute to see if they're in your favor. If they're not, then the trade doesn't matter. Get it? Like that's how quick I can kill a trade. Now, if the 1 hour cross headed up or headed down, and then I look at the 30 and it's headed down, and I look at the 15 and it's headed down, now I move to the next part. Checklist 1 done. Second checklist, volume. Is there a 15-minute red moon? There is. Move to the 3 minute. There's confirmation of the trade. Now I need an entry. What's my entry? 3 minute red moon, 3 minute red trend, 3 minute negative volume. Boom, pull the trigger. 100x leverage. Take 25 to 50%. Boom, in and out. Like a bandit. That trade is done. I don't come back. If it bounces a little, you could get a second move on that next move, but that's it. After those 2 moves, that is done. Matter of fact, I don't even like really taking that second move because the first one is what I wanted. But if there's a slight push up on, like, say, the 3 minute pulls up and then starts to head back down, I'll take that second move. and then after that I'm done, because that's not a trading zone trade. That's a pullback. That's basically where people take profits and then they go on the second leg of the pump, and we don't know what the second leg is going to be worth. So you can't, there's no guesstimate for that, right? Because the trade that we're actually looking for is a B trade, right? Which means the next time I can trade this coin is going to come down to a B trade, right? Which is this. The 4-hour RSI starts to cross. That's the start of the B trade. That's how that works. Now that I have a B trade, what does a B trade go to an A trade? Well, that's when the volume on the 1 hour crosses below the 4 line and then dives down and stays below. That is negative volume. Then I'm in an A trade, right? Those are the trades I can do. And what happens is guys are trading in, like taking a pullback trade and then trading it like 3 or 4 times, and it's like it's not designed to go 3 or 4 times. It's not an actual trade. The trades that we're looking for are B trades, right? Now you can get away with doing A trades. A trades are C trades. C trades are where the 1 and the 2 hour start to head down together at the same time. And then what you need is 15-minute negative volume and 30-minute negative volume. So the trades go like that: 15-minute negative volume, 30-minute negative volume, 1 hour negative volume. Right? They go through through a whole step. 15, 30, 1 hour, 2 hour. That's the steps. If you're not getting those triggers, then those are not trades. Right? So every trade has a trigger, right? But you have to realize where you're trading.
No, because I feel like literally in the last few days, I'm pretty much almost every single I feel like that's been drilled into my brain. You know, I understand that, and I'm making good trades, but I just was not. I was not taking profits right, and I thought that I was, and I just wasn't. So it's like, okay, wow, 2 days later, just doubled my account just from taking little 20, 40, 20, 20, 40. You know.
Yeah, and then I blame myself because I cover moving your stop loss. I just don't realize you guys were also moving it the other fucking way.
No, that's not you. That's definitely not you at all. You know, because that's just oh, maybe it'll bounce back. I know exactly what I'm doing at the time, but I'm just that's where the just the probability of you winning just goes down.
It's not designed to. It's not a long trade, right? It's not a position trade.
Right.
It's a scalp, right? That trade has a very specific, process. It doesn't go any further than that, right? And the thing is every once in a while, 3 out of 10 or 4 out of 10, it goes on a run. And then when you guys see that, you're like, oh, I should have stayed. And then you don't realize that the 4 times it did it, 6 times it didn't. So then you end up losing 6 out of 10.
Then that big move just ends up you getting your money back. And it's okay, I'm at even.
I'm even. I just made 400 and I'm even. You're like, fucker.
Yes.
Right? And that's kind of that's what happens, right? And that's where, you have to be, more aggressive. That's why, you'll see me post the same shit over and over, is because it has to get drilled in the head. We gotta realize that it's okay to take a fucking loss. It's okay to hit a stop loss, but then re-enter the damn trade on the right entry, right? Because think about it. Okay, here's how it works. You have $1,000, right? You have a 10% stop loss. It triggers. Boom, you lose 100. Boom, you go back in on the next trigger, $1,000. It hits a stop loss. You lose 100. You're like, fuck it. You're back in on the next trade because it looks good.
Yeah.
Boom, you lose 100. You're like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going back in on the next move. Next move.
And I'm gonna let it go until 75%. Yeah.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden you keep going. You're down 100, down 100, down 100. Then you get in and it fucking comes down and it makes its run to 30, 40, 50, and you're like, boom, taking my 50, right? Now, even if you took your 30 and you're like, okay, I'm even, and then you see the next bounce and it starts to rotate in, now you get back in, and then you go for another 20. Now you're up 200. And then you say to yourself, what was my mistake on those first 3? Oh, you know what? This is what I did. Now, I'm going to start doing is waiting. I'm going to let that play out, and I'm not going to get aggressive anymore. I'm going to wait for this. right? And you correct yourself, right?
Right.
And that's kind of like.
But also, like on those first three, not letting it be a 20 or like 20% stop loss or something.
Or don't
like
fucking
on the like.
Don't
you don't
add
have
money.
To get the first entry,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, don't. The
like,
worst thing is
it could have been 0%.
Yeah,
it could have just been a loss, like but zero.
Yeah, and a lot of times the damn thing went to 15% profit, and then you guys didn't move your stop loss to zero. But yeah, and then the worst thing to do is basically, there's thing where you can cost average buy, but you also have to understand where you're at in a trade with volume, right? Like I cost average buy, but the volume is like, below the 1 hour, it's actually negative. It's in the red, right? So I'm looking at everything like, okay, it's like playing a video game. It's when the what they call it, boss. The boss is that his fucking stamina is finally below 50, right? I don't go after him when he's below 50. I get to where he's about 10. Then I beat his ass up. Because even when he's 50, he can still knock me out. Right? So that's kind of where understanding where you're at with volume. That's why I made the video Volume is King, because that's the key to understanding, the positions that you're in. So realize like, oh, you know what? I was in the trade, but
that
there's
is
a lot
also
going on.
Super helpful for like longs, or like understanding the volume stuff, or like you were talking about, or I saw you on live like yesterday. I caught like a YGG long because I just like saw that I saw the like 4 hour like green trend, like it just everything like just lined up, and then there was just this sudden like just a ton of volume, and so I was like, and I just did low leverage and then just like let it go, and it was a pretty good trade. So
when you just you gotta find the little bit of rhythm that works. See, everybody's brain works a little different, right? And once you get to the point where you realize like, okay, taking profits is all my job, right? It's like working at a job. Your job is to make the Big Mac with 3 pickles, and not 5 because you like pickles. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to start doing things in a way that is always systematic, right? Because you can't look at 10 trades and be like, well, this time I did this time, you know what, I skipped that. This one I jumped the gun. This one I didn't wait for the moon. And then you got, 10 trades that are all sporadic, and you're like, what's my average, right? But if you're doing the same steps over and over, and then at the end of the steps, you're like, okay, here's my results. So then it's like, all right, what do I have to do better in these steps? And then you work on execution. And then as you get execution down, then you get better. And then at the end, when you get to execution, you can figure out your percentages and go, okay, well, let me get rid of this trade here. So these 3 trades were shit. Let me get rid of those. And now I'm really hitting higher, right? And you might say, okay, I've been taking a lot of B trades. I'm just going to wait on the A trades because I was able to get, 10 A trades this week. I should have just waited for, get rid of these 3 Bs. I could have just waited for 3 more As. Or even if I didn't get those 3 Bs, those things cost me 30%, right? So who knows if I would have been looking in another trade, I probably had the possibility here to actually like score big here, right? So that's where the whole like process is of how to determine your progress, right? That's what it's all about. Right, that's how we move forward and stay consistent, right? So the new thing here is like I'm starting everything from the entire like all trading zones, right? So daily, 4 hour, 2, and why we work off the 2 hour and the 1 hour. So when you see these new videos, like go in there and watch it. Like start here, watch those videos, and then you'll kind of piece together like what you probably like thinking to yourself. It'll kind of put it all in like a row for you, so you're like, oh shit, okay, that makes sense. And then what I'm going to do is everyone's going to start working on a 20x leverage when they first come in, because that's not scary. And we used to make a lot of money on that anyways. And then you decide in your own mind if you're a day trader and you can use 40 to 60. And then if you're really sharp and you catch on and like, oh, I like these little trades here, because you're not going to be impatient and try to make every trade a fucking 100x, because you have 3 trades that are set in 20s. So you already feel happy you're in trading, so you don't need to trade. and you got a couple of the day trades going, and then at the end you're like, let me do a couple snipes here. So it's not like an impulsive trade. It's an ability to say, well, that is a good snipe, and then you take it. So then you realize you're sniping the A trades every time now, which are higher percent wins, which are just giving you nice pockets on top of pockets. But meanwhile, the longer trades are sitting there gaining 20%, and you're just chugging away.
Building that bag. What I have. Like, I need my money to be like tied up, like, because if I have a good. That's why I like doing like Ethereum or whatever, just because it's not gonna like move. Like, I mean, it sometimes will.
Yeah. But, there's a lot of guys that only trade Ethereum. So
yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, that's what I'm saying. Like, fine. And another thing I'm going to cover, like, I covered it a while back, but it's how to, like, it was kind of like I used to talk about it all the time, then I just kind of got away from it. But it comes down to this: go see a coin and go look at its movements based on your 1 hour and 2 hours, right? Go look at a B trade, right? What is it giving you, right? Look at the pullback trade. What is it paying, right? If you look at every pullback trade for the last 10 pullbacks and the average is 1%, well, fuck that trade. That ain't paying. You want trades that are paying 3% here and there, so that way the average is higher for you, right? Like one time I looked at a coin and had a big ass candle, and then I measured it with the long tool, and it only paid out like 1%, even though it looked like it was a 5. And I was like, this is a terrible coin. So I'm gonna go make a video on that and really dig into like explaining to people, like, guys, you need to trade coins that are actually like, paying you out. Like, don't be risking money on coins that are like, not worth getting. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's not moving or paying you, then why are we even looking at it? So I kind of went through a list of the coins on there and was breaking those down, because it's kind of where we're at with the system, like, making sure that we're always using things to our advantage. Because sometimes guys are trading coins that don't pay out anyways, and it's like you're fighting a fucking downhill battle here. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to be in a better situation that allows you to take advantage of wins. Then that's not where you're at right now. You're not sitting in that position, because this coin doesn't averagely, every time it does move and you guess right and you follow the system and you win, but it doesn't have the percentages to pay you. Right, so it doesn't have any of that shit. So it's like, it's a very interesting moment there to kind of like.
BC, it's good talking to you. I actually got a dip.
Dip, bro.
I appreciate you.
Gotta go do.
I'll talk to you later, man.
Jew boy things, huh? Later, dog.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later, man.
Later, brother. What do you got, bro? Bitcoin. Well, man. You know what they say, man. Everybody said, October 1st, everything's going to crash. And it didn't. Everything's crashing. Warriors! Everything's crashing. All right, let's get to business here, guys. All right, we got some more videos. We got some more trades. You guys got that long on there? Not yet. We got time, guys. We got time. You guys get that long on Link? Link is getting nice. Link is butterballed right now, guys. We're butterballing right now. Ooh. Man, we got a 4-hour coming from the bottom. We got high volume here. Link for days, boys. Link for days. Chainlink said, pay me my money. Pay me my money. Oh, we just hit a 1-hour green moon, positive value. Man, we're full force right here, guys. We're full force right here. Guys, Chainlink is... We're going to have to bust out Chainlink here on a higher level here, guys. So we're just going to take a 50x. We're going to open a long. We're going to let that run. This is what we got to do. Oh, my bad. I just screwed my trade up. I just messed up my trade, bruh. Alright, there we go. Alright, we got a 10% stop loss. We got a 100% gain. We'll come back to it. we've already made a couple bucks on chain link. Let's dig in here. So we got 30-minute green moon, 30-minute green trend. We're in a chain link long. What do we got, man? What are you guys looking at? Chain link? We got chain link long right now. I'm in a chain link long, so you guys know, man. We're running chain link right now. All right. Yeah, let's get this chain link, boys. Yeah, I told you, Jimmy, when you started looking at it, that thing was heating up. I got the new videos coming out, guys. New videos coming out, boys. We're gonna get this shit knocked out. Top notch. Top notch. Top contender. Top ball sender. What? I'm a big girl. Go surrender. I'm a big girl. She's like my member. Yeah. Thank you, baby. Let me know when it shows up. Huh? Thank you. Bitcoin 35 trying to analyze on daily. You want me to look at Bitcoin? All right, boys, let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin. Oh, actually, I didn't do that. All right, let's look at Bitcoin, boys. You want 30,005? Let's take a look. All right, so first of all, we got a nice trading trend, right? We're green here, right? The problem is your RSI. See the RSI right there? It's starting to bend a little on your RSI, but your money's full flow, right? So we should push up another 300. So probably about, see, that's where you're getting your 30,000, huh? Ah, that makes sense. Okay. So your next push here, man. Daily's good. Let's take a look at the 4 hour. See this 4 hour bounce here? You see that 4 hour right there? See that 4 hour right here? So that 4 hour curling right there, that looks really good for a pump, right? That looks good for a pump. But here you go, look at that pump right there. Look at that. That's beautiful. Let's put this up for pieces here.